Hi everybody, it's Karen with Food and Family. Glad you're joining me. Tonight we're making a sausage, kale, and potato soup. It's a really simple, delicious soup. It doesn't take long to cook, so let's get started. So we're going to dice up a medium onion. Now I have a large onion that I cut in half, so I'm going to use the other half of it, so that'll be plenty. So let's get a little oil in my pan, and we're going to dice this onion up, get it going, and then we're going to add some sausage to it, get that browning. While it's browns, we're going to slice up some potatoes. It's very easy, very simple, delicious soup. It's an easy meal to put together when you come in from work on these cold days. We're expecting some cooler weather this weekend here in Alabama. We've got a, I'm sure you know, a hurricane that just came on board in Louisiana, and we're going to be getting some storms off of it. So then the weather's going to cool down tremendously, they're telling us. So get me a spoon so I can stir this around. We're going to use sausage. Now I've got venison sausage, and that's what I'm using tonight. You can certainly use your pork sausage. I'm using, this is a hot and spicy sausage, but it's really not very hot. It just gives it some flavor. So I use about, I don't know, half a pound, 6 ounces. Crumble it up, and I tell you, if you want, a good way to crumble up hamburger or sausage when you're putting it in the pan, use a potato masher. I'm just going to use my spoon tonight, but that's a good easy way, a good little tip for you if you want to use it. So I think that's all the sausage we're going to put in there tonight. Let me set this aside, and we'll get this going. And I'll wash my hands. They were clean when I started, and I want to keep them that way while I'm cooking. So especially when you're cooking raw meat, you want to wash your hands after you handle it. So we'll get this going. It don't take but a few minutes to get this all browned up. It's in one pot. You don't have to cook it in separate pots and add it together. So it's really good. So, how's everything your way? How's the weather your way? It's been kind of rainy today. Not much. We're expecting more rain tonight. But then it's supposed to clear them out tomorrow and be nice, they're saying. So next, I'm going to add some carrots. I've got about half a cup of grated carrots. I'm going to get my meat and onions cooked a little bit. You want your onions translucent and get your meat done. So we're going to add that and kind of stir it up together. And we're going to add some good stuff. We're going to add some kielbasa sausage to it. We're going to add some little baby red new potatoes. I'm going to slice those up. Toward the end, we're going to add kale. If you don't have fresh kale, you can certainly use frozen if you can find it. Or you can use spinach. Spinach would be wonderful in it. I love baby spinach. And I use that quite often in soups. Or just saute around with some garlic and oil. That's so good. Makes it a delicious side dish. But while we're doing this, I think while I get my soup simmering, I think I'm going to make a pan of cornbread to go with it. And let that heat up a little bit and get it going. I don't know, can you see in my pot here? Can you see it browning up? See, it doesn't take long at all. And you saw when I put it in, you see it's getting there already. And it hasn't been but just a very few minutes. So it doesn't take long. So get that. Now we're going to add some carrots. It's that quick. We're going to add our carrots. And I'll stir them around and let them simmer for just a minute. But they will cook while the soup cooks. And I grated the carrot up. So, I mean, you just need about half a cup. So I used 2 carrots, I think it was. And grated it up. And let's let that cook a little bit. Let's see, I've made it before, but I still like to look at my recipe. So now, let's move this knife. So now we're going to add, I have 4 cups of chicken broth, 2 cups of water, and half a cup of half and half. So we're going to add all those. I want to stir this carrots in here for just a little bit and let that sausage cook just a minute more. Then we're going to add all that in. Oh, did I tell you it's got Parmesan cheese in it? We'll put that in at the end. Just something I was thinking one day should be nice, and I thought, what can I make? And that came to mind, and it was so good. So we got that in, so we're going to add the rest of our, we're going to add our chicken broth, 4 cups of broth, 2 cups of water, and half a cup of half and half, and it is gonna be good. I can promise you that. I know because I've had it. So let's stir that around. Get all of that mixed up. So while that's cooking, coming up, we're going to cut up our potatoes and our sausage, and we're going to get that put in there. You can, if you want to. I didn't. You don't have to. You can cook your other sausage. I use a Polish sausage. You can use kielbasa, whatever your preference is. And you could put it in with your sausage if you wanted to. Let's see, with it, we're going to try maybe half of that. And I'm just going to cut it up in little circles. Yeah. See how big I made them? You don't want them real thick. It's going to be so good. You can, if you wanted, you could put it in with your sausage while you're cooking it. And you can use turkey sausage. You can use pork sausage. Hot and spicy, mild, sage. I don't know if the sage would be so good, but it's your choice, your soup. So you do it like you want to do it. This is how I do it. So put however much you want in it or however little. If you don't like one of the ingredients, leave it out or substitute. It's your choice. That's a nice amount. Let's put this in here and stir it around and see if I think we need a little more. If we do, I'll put it in there. Same with your soup. If you want more, put more in it. Oh, we might put just a little bit more in it. I don't think we need the whole pack though. We'll save that for biscuits. Could fry that up and make some biscuits. Be so good. Get this in here, get it going. We'll get the rest of our ingredients in. Be careful with your fingers when you're slicing it up. My knife is sharp. My hubby keeps them sharpened for me, so I'm not playing around with dull knives. Dull knife is dangerous. So okay, so let's get that. I wish you could see this. Can you see it? I'll hold it up and show it to you in a few minutes. So let's get that going. What else do we need to put in there? So let's get that going. And we're going to cut up our potatoes. I've got little red new potatoes. Look like fingerling potatoes, don't they? But they're so good. These are, I tell you what I like to do with these, and that's cut them up, coat them with a little olive oil and salt and pepper and roast them. Now that's good. So, look, see on the inside, it's almost got a yellow tint to it, but they're so good. I love a red potato. It don't take long, just slice them up. But again, you put as many as you want or as little. That's up to you. Just slide them right on. Well, they're starchy, I guess. They want to stick to my knife. You had that happen before? I have. Cutting up potatoes to fry and have my potatoes stick to my knife. I'm like, where'd they go? Looky there. Looky there. Let's see, that was 3 little potatoes. Oh, I think we need more than that. I love potatoes. It's my favorite. I often tell people if I was on a stranded island and I could only have one thing to eat, I would have to choose a potato. You can do so many things with it, and it's my favorite. I think a couple of more and we'll be good. Let's do this one and we'll see. See, you make quick work of it when you got a sharp knife. Let's see what it looks like now. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna be good. As much as I love potatoes, I'm gonna put one more. One more. Now I'm gonna put some salt and pepper in this, but be careful with your salt because you got chicken broth that's got salt in it. Unless you buy the unsalted, you can buy no sodium chicken broth. I do that sometimes, so I can control the sodium, or I buy low sodium. That's good. Look at all that goodness going in there. Can you see that? See there, you see you got your potatoes, your Polish sausage, your venison sausage in this case. So I think that's plenty of potatoes. But I'm going to put some Parmesan cheese in it, so I'm going to try not to over salt it. You can always salt a little bit at the table when you sit down, and I tend to have to watch myself with the salt. I'm a salty person, so people used to tease my brother-in-law and myself when we'd be together for a meal. They would want to sit us at the same end of the table, side by side, and put the salt shaker between us because it was tit for tat who was going to use the most. So we would fight on over it if we were at opposite ends of the table. So I got that going. Let's see. We've got a medium onion, 6 ounces of sausage. Now another good is shortcut. To save you time, you can buy pre-cooked sausage crumbles in the grocery store. They're very good. I've used them. Or you can buy your little roll, you know, the little pound roll, and crumble it up and cook it yourself. So I use a half a pound. I use a little more than half a pound of Polish sausage, half a cup of carrots, 4 cups of chicken broth, 2 cups of water, half a cup of half and half. I'm going to use salt and pepper. I called for a teaspoon of salt and pepper. I didn't use quite a teaspoon of salt. Now I've got to put some butter. I need 2 tablespoons of butter. Everything is better with butter. And again, that's something else. My butter, I use salted butter. I just like it. So I'm going to use a couple of tablespoons of butter. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Ooh, now butter's going to make it, give your soup a little creamy, velvety texture and look. It's so good. So now get back to my recipe. I realized I didn't put my butter in. I'm going to use 2 cups of kale. I got raw kale. And this is what I like to buy. It's good, it's pre-washed, and all the work's done for you. So I'll use 2 cups of that, and 2.5 cups of red baby new potatoes sliced a 1/4 to 1/2 inch. You saw how I did it. I don't know that I used quite 2.5 cups, but I put what I wanted in it. I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and at the end, we'll put in our kale and some Parmesan. Now, I don't have shaved Parmesan, so I'm going to use the grated. So, I'll have to kind of watch what I do. If you want a little more than a 1/4 teaspoon, let's don't use a 1/4 cup of cayenne. You can use more. It's going to be your taste, whatever you like. If you want it a little spicier, use more. Use a 1/2 teaspoon, and again, it's what you want, your preference. So I use a little nutmeg. When stuff like this is kind of soup or grains, when I cook grains, burnt grains, collard greens, whatever, I like to put a little nutmeg in it. You can't really taste it, but it's one of those things that when you eat it, you say, what's different about it? But it gives it such a good taste. So dark leafy greens, remember that, are good. Put a little kale in it. So, but I like freshly grated nutmeg, but you can certainly use the ground nutmeg if you buy it. So let's get this going. Stir this around. Let's get that butter melted in there. I wish y'all could smell this. We need smell-o-vision. Wouldn't that be nice? I don't know. I'd probably be hungry all the time if I did. So let's I'm gonna stir this around and get it come up to a simmer, and then I'm gonna simmer it about 15-20 minutes and get those potatoes good and tender. And you don't want to falling apart mushy, but get them tender. And the sausage is gonna be, or the Polish sausage will be cooked through, and the carrots will be soft. And let's get that going, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, I'll see you then. Hi, we're back. See, that didn't take long at all. So I've got my potatoes tender. They're not falling apart, but they're fork tender, and just like you want them. Can you see that goodness here? Let me see if I can get to where y'all can see it. See that goodness on my spoon? Sausage and potatoes, and we're gonna dip a bowl when we get done here and let you see it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some kale in it. Now the recipe calls for 2 cups, so put as much as you want in it. I'm just gonna put in what I want, and that's, I would say, close to a cup. And I'm gonna put about that much more. How about that? Let's stir it around. And see, and it's gonna wilt so quickly. And you start out with a big pot, and I know if you've cooked greens, you know what I'm talking about. Start out with a big pot, and by the time you get done, you got this much. And that's the way this is. So we're gonna wilt that down. Just let it simmer for a minute. And while y'all are going, I put a pan of cornbread in the oven. Now, I don't know if it's gonna be done in time for you to see it or not. Maybe it will. So let's turn this up a little bit. So, and I think that's everything. Other than the Parmesan, we'll put that in last. So, again, let's go to the recipe. It's a medium onion diced. I got 6-ounce package of sausage crumbles, or you can use your own sausage like I did. Half a pound of Polish or kielbasa sausage, slice it up. Quarter to half inch slices, whatever you want. Half a cup of shredded carrots, 4 cups of chicken broth, 2 cups of water, half a cup of half and half, a teaspoon of salt and pepper. Again, remember with your salt, you know, you're adding chicken broth if it's salty. I added salted butter. You've got the sausage in there, so be careful with that. 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of kale, 2.5 cups of red baby new potatoes. I don't think I put 2.5 cups. A 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. I use fresh. And at the end, we're going to put half a cup of Parmesan cheese. And it calls for shaved. I don't have shaved, so I'm going to use the grated. So just, you know, get your sausage and your onions going, add your carrots, and then cut up your potatoes, put it in, add your broth and your water, and let that simmer a little bit. Easy peasy. You've got a good meal in just a few minutes. And especially on the cool winter nights, that's what we don't eat. I put in the freezer. I'll take for lunch, and we're just gonna have a good meal. We're going to let this simmer just another couple of minutes to get that kale down. Kale is so good for you, and it really tastes good. I like it. First started coming on the scene, you hear a lot about kale. I thought, I'm not so sure about that. So I tried it, and I did like it. I don't care for it as much raw. It's a little tough. So I like it cooked. So, and I used it a lot in soups. I told you that earlier. So it just gives it a little extra vitamins you need. Makes your soup so pretty. If y'all could see this right now, let me see if I can get you over here to where you can see it and see what it looks like without messing us up too much. Come over here. Can you see that? You can't see that, can you? Well, why can't I get it on there? There we go. See how good that soup looks? And that's easy, not a lot of ingredients, not a lot of time that you have to spend making it, and it's good and it's healthy. So start to finish, about 30 minutes, have it all made. And especially if you use the crumbles in the sausage, they're pre-cooked, and so you don't have to worry about that. Dice your onion up, saute it 2 or 3 minutes, add your crumbles in, and hey, you're on the way. The Polish or kielbasa, whichever you choose to use, it'll cook in the broth as you let it simmer. So in your carrots, they'll cook in as it simmers. So it really doesn't take long at all. So it's almost there. See how that's wilted down. You saw what I started with. And we're going to serve this up some here in just a minute. Let me get a ladle so I can go ahead and be prepared to dip me up some soup. I'm getting hungry sitting here. Smelling this cooking, smelling my cornbread going. And so I'm ready to eat. If y'all had supper tonight, what did you cook? Tell me. I hope you had something delicious and nutritious for you. I'm sure you did. And whatever it is, I'm sure you enjoyed it. So, we've been having, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but we've been having some food trucks come in our neighborhood a couple of times a week. Sometimes 3. Now and again, we'll stop and get something from the food truck. And we've really enjoyed them. It's been a good convenience for people. You know, you get family with both parents work and coming home and feed their children, so they stop there. They've got a good meal, and, you know, they're not waiting late at night to feed them. So, I think it's a good thing. And We got Halloween coming up. I'm excited for Halloween. I like Halloween. We're having a trick-or-treat trail in our neighborhood this year. So basically what it is, you say, I'm gonna do the trick-or-treat, decorate your yard. They're gonna judge your decorations. They're gonna judge costumes for the children. And we got a balloon to put out on the mailbox, so it's kind of like a scavenger hunt for the kids. When they're coming around, they get to find the balloons to see who they can trick-or-treat. And so I think it's going to be fun. We had some decorations out, and with the storm coming through tonight, we had to take them up because they didn't want them to blow away. So, but we'll get them back out this weekend. And so we're kind of looking forward to that. I'm bringing the family in to help me with it. And, you know, call in the army, let them help it. So let's dip up a bowl of this soup. See, I couldn't wait. I had my bowl ready. So get some potatoes and sausage and that good old kale. Some of that broth, that buttery broth. You can just see where the butter's floating, and it's so good. I'm gonna dig around in there and get me some potatoes. There we go. I want you to see this. I want you to see this nice bowl of soup. Can you see that? I don't want to spill it, and it's hot. See that nice bowl of soup? See how steaming it is? It's all that sausage and kale. It's in the potatoes in there, and see, the potatoes are good and done. They're real tender, and if you can see that, it just cut right through it. And we're gonna taste it in just a minute, but I want to check my take a peek at my cornbread. Oh, I think it's ready to come out. Let me get it. Oh yeah, my beeper's fixing to go off. Cornbread is so easy to make. Off now. Off with you. Now, as long as I've had this stove, I'm still learning how to use it. So let me get my little plate, turn my cornbread out on. Looky there. Now, you talking about some good eating. We're gonna put some butter on it, on my plate. And let's turn this off. Move it to the back because I don't want to get burned. Let me get me a little plate to put my piece of cornbread on. And of course, I gotta have some butter to go with it. So here we go. Here we go. Let's get our cornbread. Let's cut some nice. If y'all could hear it, listen to it. Listen to it. Listen to it when I cut it. Oh, I love me some crunchy cornbread. How do you like cornbread, or do you like cornbread? You could use dinner rolls with this. You can use crackers if you wanted. Look at that. Look at that cornbread. One day we'll do some cornbread on here. It's so easy. My grandmother, I think, made the best cornbread in the world. And try as I might, I cannot duplicate her cornbread recipe. Let's see, maybe I can get it with this knife. My sister could, but I can't. I try so hard. I make cornbread more like my mother, and then both were very good cooks. Okay, so there we go. I like my hands a little bit. I got them greasy, but what's wrong with that? It's butter grease. Okay, let's try this soup. See how good it is. It's gonna be hot. Let's get a piece of potato. Let's get a bite of everything in it. It's hot. Mmm. Mmm. Y'all, that's so good. That's so good. I got the little spicy from that Polish sausage. It's not hot, just a little spicy. Plus the venison sausage I used had a little spice to it. But that's so good. Better try some cornbread. Oh, that's delicious. I hope you try this. I'll try to get the recipe on along with the video when I get it put up. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm glad you joined me tonight, and I hope you make it. And if you do, please let me know how you like it. So everybody stay safe, stay healthy. See you later. Bye.